Hello and happy Friday, everyone. Oh, let me turn that off. All right. I don't know about you guys, but it is hot here in Texas. And go figure, the Perseids will peak this weekend. So overnight, Saturday night into Sunday morning is the peak of the Perseid meteor shower, my favorite time of year. It's not great viewing every year because sometimes the moon gets in the way. Hang on, I got to wipe off some dust. But this year, the moon's not going to be an issue, so the sky should be perfect for viewing. And we've got a nice open, enough viewing spot just from the backyard even, but the back pasture for sure. And it's been so dry here, not a cloud in the sky, not a drop of rain. But 2 nights ago is the first night I went out, just kind of middle of the night. I just randomly woke up to go to the bathroom. I let the dogs out and I stood outside to watch the sky for a little bit. And it was cloudy. Go figure. So last night it was cloudy again. It's pretty clear right now. So I don't know what to expect for tonight. I like to start watching, 2 or 3 days before the peak and then a couple of days after the peak. The peak just means that we're kind of midway point, and that's typically when you'll see the most meteors, when it's a good year and the sky is not washed out by the light of the moon. So 2 nights ago, we got 5 minutes of sprinkles, about 11:15. I had posted a picture on my community page, a screenshot of the radar from the phone app, the little Weather Channel app I have on my phone. And it looked like rain was going to head this way. And the little temperature app thing I have on the phone showed like a 70% chance of rain around 11 o'clock. But I wasn't going to hold my breath waiting for it. Oh, wait, Jerry says we've had rain here, Kathy, over 1 inch last weekend. Nice. Yeah, we're going on a couple of months now, I think, with no rain at all. It's been bad. And we got those sprinkles a couple of nights ago. Last night, no rain, but it was cloudy all night. I got up a couple of different times to go outside and see if I could see anything, and it was cloudy. So I don't know what to expect. That's just Murphy's Law, I guess, that I've waited to see these meteors. And I haven't been going out overnight because the moon has been too bright. And it's just been in a position where, it just drowns out other things in the night sky. So wish me luck this weekend. As much as we need the rain, and I'm not going to say I would be unhappy if I had to miss seeing the Perseids because of rain, because we need rain so badly. But it's just intriguing that we would go this long without rain, and then the one event of the year where I need to be able to see the sky at night, we're getting clouds and rain. So I did hear on a report recently that the NOAA team is predicting a higher than normal number of hurricanes, or maybe stronger hurricanes. It's just supposed to be a more active hurricane season this year. So I don't know if that's going to mean some more rain for us or not. Last year was so terrible. We didn't get rain for so long. We had a whole lot of rain before this dry spell hit these last couple of months. But I guess it all balances out when everything is said and done. So if you missed that, I opened the show with this silly little Mariah Carey TikTok dance thing that's going around. I'm not a dancer, but I'm sure getting a kick out of watching some of the videos and some of the different families and people, and like the one I just showed, those news anchors that did the dance. So I think that's kind of cute. Before that, it was that Marvelous Miss Maisel. I think that's what it's from. I've only seen part of one episode of that show. I don't remember why I stopped watching it. And that was the other one. I don't remember what that name of that song is. And that one was kind of cute too. But again, I'm not a dancer, so I don't think that's anything you're going to see me doing, unless it's strictly for the purpose of showing you that I'm not a dancer. Anyway, so my friends Wendy and Scott hopefully will be signing on here in just a bit. and I am going to start the show. We'll get our channel stats done, and we'll just visit a little while here while we wait for them. And then I do have some, if you know, that's one thing I did want to say about invisible illnesses, because most people I know that have to contend with some of the conditions that we've already talked about and some of the ones that I plan for us to talk about, it really gives you very little control over your life, because things can hit you and prevent you from participating in events or going places or just living your life. So I know it's not unusual for people that suffer with, again, like Crohn's. We're going to talk about Crohn's today. That's a big one. Any of the, IBS kind of conditions, that can really just put a stop to everything for people. So I haven't heard from Wendy today. I think we were chatting on Facebook yesterday, I think it was, and everything was still good then. But she and Scott both have so many health struggles, and there have been so many situations where they had to cancel plans or cancel a trip, or one of them ended up in the hospital even. It can just be so overwhelming and really robs people of their freedom. So hi, Tiffany at Canadian Family Life. Hello, Bud Files. I don't know, Jerry. I don't know about what dates. Tell me what the dates are this year for Pinecone Fest. The big challenge for us is always that we have boarders here almost every day of the year. And I wouldn't mind, me getting away for a night or two and just leaving our animals here. But I do feel obligated. People pay us, to watch their dogs. And I do feel like I need to be here to make sure that everybody is looked after. October 13th, 14th, 15th. So I'll look at my calendar and see if I might be able to block off a night or two. I wanted to go last year, but same thing. We had boarders here that weekend. I think we had 3 boarders booked for the weekend that it happened last year. So I'll check those dates. And yeah, I'd love to think maybe I can meet you live and in person along with some other great folks. So let me pull up let me get a drink of water first. And let me pull up my stats screen. And I wanted to also run something by you guys. Oops. Because I have used Google Chrome for StreamYard, for streaming, for like a year. No trouble. And that was supposed to have been recommended, that Google was supposed to be the better browser. Well, suddenly, so when I was getting everything set up for this week's stream, on Chrome, StreamYard could not connect to my camera or my microphone. So after all these live streams where I haven't had any problems, it couldn't connect to my camera or my microphone. I went into my settings. It does show that StreamYard has permission to use my camera and my microphone, but it won't work. It tells me it can't connect. So I don't know what's up with that. So I'm using Firefox. So I hope that hasn't had an impact on the quality of what you see or hear. And I'm just glad to have it working, because all I could think to do if I couldn't get a browser to work was to just dial in from my phone, which wouldn't have been really the best option, because I don't know how to do the share screens and stuff from my phone. World wouldn't have ended, but I'm glad that Firefox has come to my rescue this week. So I'm having to figure out, again, where to find all the screens, because it's a little different on, okay, there it is. It's a little different on Firefox. It looks a little different. Okay, so the picture and sound are good. All right, so let's go over some channel stats. We had a couple of channels that had some nice growth again in this past week. Lots of them are just holding steady where they were. And I think pretty much all channels gained some subscribers. Again, it's not the most important metric, but it's just the easiest way to see how many people are connecting with you, and it's easy to measure that. So it's the one I like to kind of focus on. Hang on, I just got a message from Wendy. Let me see what she says. Okay, so she just wants me to send her the link on my phone. So let me do that right quick, which means I need to get to StreamYard on my phone. Oops. Bear with me here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Oh, maybe it is. Here we go. I'm going to send her the link on the phone. And then, depending on how quickly she gets in, we may actually do this channel stats at the last. I'll let you be looking at the screen while I'm doing this. Okay. And her message said she had an issue with one of the dogs this morning. Okay, so I'm going to tell her, no worries. I'm going to go ahead and do some channel stats with my audience, and then we'll get you on screen as soon as you get here. Okay, that was me dictating into my phone, which doesn't always go well. I don't know about you guys, but obviously if I'm driving or something, I like to just dictate in my phone if for some reason I have to send a text that can't wait. But it doesn't always translate what I'm saying. I feel like I'm pretty articulate, but the phone sure has some trouble with some of the things I say. So while we're waiting, let's go ahead and talk about subscriber counts for channels. I always start with our channel members. Nina and Boyce, our Texas neighbors at Rooted in Texas, are at 888 today. Ordered Steps is at 1,320 something still today. My friend Akashi Chris at Mind Forked is at 481. My friend Byron, and a Texas neighbor of ours at 12 Stones Ranch, is at 1,690 something still. Joe Hupp, my friend from Australia, is at 321. Jesse and Lisa at Lazy Days Ahead with Jesse and Lisa are at 1,500 something today. Jerry and Susan at Butler Family Farm are at 1,800 something today. You can let us know what that actual number is. I just know that it's at least 1,800, but it could be 1,809. So we'll see if Jerry's still in the chat and can give us an exact number. My friend Gary at Belt Loop 29 is at still holding on to his 2,400, 10 to 19, something in that range. David Hunt is at 597 today. Mark at Corner Clubhouse Cobalt is at 1,250 something today. Jerry is at 1,805 today. So I would expect we're going to see the 1,810 to 1,819 in that column next week. All right, and then Drunken Chef Barbecue is at 1,300 something today. My friend Lee from the UK is at 1,240 something. My friend Adam Sky is at 319 today. My friends Jeff and Lorena at Back to Country Homestead, some more Texas neighbors of ours. They live east of us a couple of hours. They are at 783. Amanda at Bare Bones Living is at 738. Bearded Eagle is at 1,290 something. Ashley at CNC Farm is at 2,040 something. Tiffany at Canadian Family Life, who is in the chat today, is at 1,490 something. And it may be 1,499 because I was really thinking you were at 1,500 already. My friend Heather from Australia at Come Hither with Heather is at 1,020 something. My friend Danielle at Danny Days Ahead is at 1,080 something. My friend Dawn Ray B is at 534. My friends Brittany and Big K at Flannel Hill Farm are at 265. Jen and Steve at Good Times Homestead with Jen and Steve are at 1,020 something. My friend John at Home Bartending with John is at 401. Tiffany at Canadian Family Life is at 1,494. Well, I'm having a premonition that 1,500 is coming up really soon then, I guess. My friend Peter Tragos at Lawyer You Know is at 261,000 subscribers this week. Katie at Mayfield Ranch is at 1,180. Millionaire Paul at Millionaire Paul the Millionaire Challenge channel is at 288. He's also in the UK. Next week, I think, is the first video that will feature RichKatRanch, because we became a sponsor, and we will be a sponsor for 5 videos. So for 5 videos in a row, you'll see little snippets of videos from our channel in a little section he has on the left side of the page where he features his sponsors for those videos. So I'm excited to see how that looks, and encourage you guys to go check that out, because that's a way you can support him and us. Tammy at Mountain Grandma is at 869. Tiffany at Mud and Mascara Homestead is at 522. Nick at Multi-Hunter 24/7, Texas neighbors of ours, couple of hours to the west, are at 1,050. Ginger at Not For Nothing Homestead is holding on to her 1,020 something subscribers. Devin and Ryan at Our New Land are at 4,780. Look at the jumps these guys continue to make every week. That tells you that you need to check the channel out if you haven't checked that channel out yet. My friend Nancy at Our Treasured Home is at 1,120 something today. Marin at Palma Pioneer Pantry is still at 299. Still no new activity there, and I have yet to hear back from her. So I'm guessing the channel is just not a working channel right now. Great stuff there. So there's still a lot for you to enjoy and learn from by visiting the channel and watching the videos. So don't let that number keep you away from going and showing her some support. My friend Stephen at Pawpaw's Kitchen is at 334. This is another channel that has not had activity in a couple of months, and I haven't heard back from anyone. I sent an email and I haven't heard back. But again, great stuff there. The man can cook, and you will learn to make things that maybe you didn't think you could make or that you didn't know how to make, and they all look and sound delicious. My friend Shane at Paralife TV from Canada, your everyday wheelchair ninja, is at 2010 to 19. John Pedroza at Pedroza Travel is at 1,100 something today. Psychology Noir with Dr. Lund, my friend Vicki Lund, is holding on to her 1,040 something subscribers. Wes and Jess at Rich New Design are at 513. Ronnie and Brittany at Ronnie and Brittany RV Story in California are at 734. My friend David at Safe and Sound Texas Audio Excursion, goes without saying that he is a Texas neighbor of ours. Check it out, a 100 subscriber jump in a week, 2,790 subscribers now for David. A lot of interesting stuff there. And I'm just so excited and intrigued at how that channel is growing. It seems like that would be such a small niche, or it's such a specific niche, but he just has a great presentation style, and everything he shares is so interesting. My friend Shannon at Shanster Travels is at 665 today. She just put up a new, like a channel intro. I think that's what it was. I think it turned out great, so go and check that out. My friend Sparrow Spalding is at 1,430 something. Kenny and Debbie at The Adventures of Kenny and Debbie are at 761 today. Angela at The Inquisitive Farm Wife is at 1,880 something today. My friend Dino at The Late Late Horror Show is at 112,000 still today. My friend Tom Salta is still right around 1,000 subscribers today. John and Sarah at Two Doves Bees and Gardens are at 1,680 something today. The Vineyard Chicks Homestead is at 4,600 something today. My friend Ralph at Webb's Web is holding on to his 1,040 something subscribers. My friend Robin at What the Flock is at 585. And it's interesting to me how growth happens. So Robin is at 585 subscribers, but she just hit 200,000 views like yesterday. And it's just so interesting to me. There are some channels, they take off. They'll have hundreds of thousands of views, but not a lot of subscribers. Or they get all this, they hit their 1,000 subscriber mark and they don't have a lot of views or a lot of watch hours. Or a lot of channels will get a lot of views, but they don't get the watch hours. So there's just I see these equations in my head sometimes when I look at some of these numbers, and it's just really interesting to me. And the only takeaways are that you just have to work it. You just have to get out there and work it every day, because you don't know which thing is going to take off fastest, and you don't have control necessarily of which thing takes off fastest. So you just got to work it. My friend Steve Robson at Wild Macro Art is still at 24 subscribers, and the Late Fat Ninja DM is still at 431 subscribers. So that's the catch up for channel stats today. For our channel, I will share with you guys that we crossed the 250,000 views mark 2 or 3 days ago, I think on the 8th. And obviously, watch hours, we're still good with watch hours. Now, once you hit your first 4,000, you need to try to maintain the 4,000 watch hours in every 365-day period. And so we're still good there as well. But it's just so mind-boggling to watch that subscriber count number go up and down. So, I'll have a day where I'll gain 6 or 7 subscribers, and then the next day I've lost 5 of them, and then I'll gain 1, and then I'll lose 3, and then I'll gain 8, and then I'll lose 5. And I don't know where that comes from. I don't know what that's about. And it's funny to me that the losses always seem to happen. They always seem to correspond then with a little batch, a gain. So I'll gain multiple subscribers and then just simultaneously lose some. So I don't know if it's bots. That's a thing, that there are bots that come on and view videos and like videos, and I guess they like them, and subscribe. I don't know what the point of that is. I don't know what that means or where that comes from or why it happens, but I know it does happen. And YouTube has a lot of sophisticated protocols and systems in place so that they can detect when it's not a real person or a real account, when it's a bot. So again, I just don't know why it even happens at all. I don't know who gains from that. What's the point of that? And I don't know that that's what it is or not. Maybe it really is just coincidental that some people stopped or, canceled or unsubscribed after a group of people subscribed. I don't know. I wish I knew. If I knew, I'd certainly share it with all of you so we could figure out this goofy thing they call the algorithm. Anyway, so that's been a nice milestone for us to reach. And I think right now we are sitting at 2,250 subscribers. Let me check and see. I think that's what it was this morning, but let me see if that's what it still is right now. Oh, see, I just checked it this morning and it was at 2,250. Now it's at 2,255. And it's just gone up and down from like 2,257 to 2,246, and then back up a couple, and then down 1, and then back up 5, and then down 3, and then back up 5, and then, up and down. So it's up again. I'm still just thoroughly enjoying the shorts ride. So watching how some of these shorts, okay, so like today's short, that's what did it. So when I checked the shorts view count before the stream today, it was like 140 views. Well, now today's short is at 1,506 views. So in the last couple of hours, it's at 1,506 views, and I got 6 subscribers out of it. So that's where that 2,255 now came from. I'm not complaining, but I just wish I could see the pattern. I wish I could just grasp, it's like I can see this map thing in my head, but everything goes nowhere. Like, I don't understand all the little avenues on the map, because they either all go to the same place or they go places off the map and I can't see where they go. I don't know how else to describe it. So I'm happy to report that today's short is doing really well and has brought in some new subscribers. Now, I have come to accept that most of the subscribers I get from shorts don't go on to watch many, if any, longer form videos. I don't think any of them have ever come to a live stream, because, you know, I would at least see a name that was new to me. And I typically don't see a lot of new names in the live streams that I haven't seen make a comment in a video or on another live or a premiere or something. But they have their place, and I enjoy making the shorts. And it gives me something to do a lot of times with videos where I may have recorded because I was expecting something to happen or hoping something would happen and I could capture it on film, and then it doesn't quite pan out. And so I get these little snippets. I'm also very interested to report that my best performing shorts really are 16 seconds or less. That's kind of sad to me, because I think it indicates just the society that we live in, that people don't want to spend more time, or they don't have more time to spend, or they don't want to feel like they have to make a commitment to something longer. Because, you know, back in the day, shorts on YouTube, and it just has to be 60 seconds or under to qualify as a short, and it has to be in that portrait, the up and down vertical format, to qualify as a shorts, to go on the shorts shelf. And so early on, you know, the 60-second ones performed really well. I think for everyone, they performed really well. And obviously you can tell a whole lot more of a story in 60 seconds than you can in 15 seconds. But I've had a fun time finding ways to get my story on the screen in 15 or 16 seconds. And those videos, those shorts do better than the ones that are 17 seconds or more. Isn't that interesting? So today's short, how long is today's short? Where did it go? Let's see. Today's short is 15 seconds long. Yesterday's short, and I thought yesterday's short would perform better just because of the content. Let's see how long it was. Ooh, yesterday's short was 17 seconds long, and it didn't perform as well as my 15-second short today. There's something to think about. So I just still want to encourage you, if you're not making shorts or experimenting with shorts yet, not only can it bring you subscribers, so it still exposes you more people to your channel. And you never know, you plant that little seed. They may watch a short and then not watch any other videos, but then at some point they may come across the short again, or they might be talking to a friend about, hey, I watched this short about whatever, and they come to find it, and maybe it could grow from there. So again, I think it has its place. And because we can make some money off of shorts now, it's that much more gratifying as a content creator to get the views and get the subs, even if it doesn't mean I'm getting a lot more viewers or watch hours from longer content videos or live streams. But it's a way to stay motivated, I think, because every now and then I'll have a little snippet of something I could use for a short, and then it sparks an idea for a longer form video idea. So I wanted to see, I know this will break it down for me, but I don't know where to find it. Somewhere here it will tell you like how much money you made off of shorts versus how much money you made off of live streams versus how much money you made off of long form videos, but I don't know where I've seen it. Oh, maybe it's at the revenue tab. Okay. Yeah. So if you're a content creator, you can go to the revenue tab under your channel analytics. There's overview, content, audience, revenue, and research. And then content performance will tell you how much you've made the different kind of content. My live streams are my biggest money makers here. Hello, John and Sarah. Thanks for being here today. And I think that's just because they're longer. And then people will come back to watch those after they've, stopped broadcasting. So I do want to take this time to thank those of you who are part of the rewatch crew that are checking out today's stream after the live ended. I'm sorry you weren't able to be with us while we were live. Catch you on the next one. But thanks to you guys, because you still make a lot of wonderful things happen for me. So live streams are my biggest money makers. Then my regular videos are the next one. And then the shorts are at the bottom. But, you got to have 1,000 views minimum for a short at all to even make 10 cents, I think. So that's no surprise. Okay. So let me go ahead and share some stats. Let me pull up some info I have. So today we were going to talk about Crohn's disease specifically and diabetes specifically. Wendy has Crohn's disease. She also has fibromyalgia. I think she may also have lupus. There is a little family of conditions and disorders and diseases that seem to be very commonly found together in people. And so when she gets here, we'll just talk a little bit about her Crohn's journey. How did that start? And when did she learn that's what it was? And she's just had some terrible, terrible health battles. Scott has had some terrible, terrible health battles. I mean, times when we didn't know if they were going to survive. It's been that bad for both of them at times. So right away, when I decided I was going to do this series, I thought, I'm going to see if they'll come on the show, because they've definitely been on both sides and all sides of these conditions. But let's see, let's put up a little graph or a little thing here. Crohn's disease is an inflammatory bowel disease, IBD. Ulcerative colitis and microscopic colitis are other common types of IBD. And you know what? I have a little video I can show you about Crohn's disease. So let's play that.
Okay. Crohn's disease is an inflammatory bowel disease. It's caused by chronic inflammation of the gastrointestinal tract. There are some similarities in symptoms of Crohn's disease to another type of inflammatory bowel disease called ulcerative colitis. The main difference is that Crohn's disease can be inflammation in any part of the gastrointestinal tract, but ulcerative colitis only affects the colon and rectum. You might be wondering what the gastrointestinal tract is. This is a system of organs that take in food, digest it for energy and nutrients, and then release the waste products. The symptoms of Crohn's disease vary, but it depends on which portion of the gastrointestinal tract is being affected. The main symptoms are cramps in the abdomen, fever, fatigue, weight loss, loss of appetite, ulcers in the mouth, and swollen gums. Your doctor can do some tests to help diagnose you if you have Crohn's disease. The first is a barium enema. This is a special X-ray of the large intestine. A colonoscopy is another way to diagnose Crohn's disease, and this is a form of imaging of the colon. A CT scan of the abdomen can be done. And another way is the upper GI series, which is a procedure where your doctor uses X-rays, fluoroscopy, and a liquid called barium to view the upper gastrointestinal tract. In terms of treatment of Crohn's disease, unfortunately there is no treatment. Symptoms can be intermittent, so sometimes you may be feeling okay, and then other times you may have a flare-up of symptoms. The goal to treat Crohn's disease is to manage your symptoms and suppress them to reduce incidences of flare-ups. It's also advised that you look after your diet, nutrition, and stress management. In terms of diet, a well-balanced, healthy diet is important. You would need to eat smaller quantities of food throughout the day rather than big, bulky meals. Increasing water intake, avoid greasy foods, avoid heavy, fatty foods, and if you've already identified the food types which cause your flare-ups, you may need to actively try and avoid them. Some people have low tolerance to dairy products, so avoiding these foods can help. Some of the medications to treat Crohn's include cortisone or steroids to reduce inflammation. immune system blockers to reduce the immune reaction which causes inflammation. Sometimes antibiotics are given to reduce the bacterial overgrowth in the intestine. Stress is a key factor in managing Crohn's disease. High amounts of stress can cause flare-ups of Crohn's disease. The reason this link occurs, it's not fully understood, but managing stress levels can reduce Crohn's symptoms. Crohn's disease can increase your risk of colon cancer, and another thing that's noticed is some may have ulcerations in the mouth due to Crohn's, which look like this. If you do develop these lesions in the mouth, it's best to keep the area clean, perhaps with warm salty rinses. They tend to clear away on their own, but it's best to have them looked at by your dentist. So if you've made it to the end of the video, leave a 100 emoji as a comment so I know you've made it to the end of the video. If you have any questions, comment them below and I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. And as always, leave a like and subscribe if you've liked this video.
All right, so there was just a little info session on Crohn's disease. And thank you, Texas born and raised. Thank you for that. I hope at least a handful of people here and there will get something out of these videos. I know there's lots of resources and I'm sure there's lots of other videos out there already, but you know, the purpose of my live streams is to connect people, to make it real. You know, whether it's a content creator I'm interviewing, or again, now this Invisible Illness series, to let you visit with real people who are living this, whatever it is, that are the feelings and the financial impact and the family impact. And I just want it to be more real. And so, you know, that was kind of my objective, was just to spread awareness and shine a light on some conditions that for the most part people don't know you have, or don't know that the person has it. You can't look at them and see that they have it. Some conditions you can see. It has an outward manifestation or disfigurement or growth or something that you could see if you looked at them. But the diseases that I'm focusing on, or the conditions, or just the health issues, that might be a better way to say it, because what I want to do is going to cover a lot of physical and mental, emotional struggles, and you can't see it. And so, you know, Crohn's disease, aside from, again, the fact that a lot of times it robs people of their freedom and ability to enjoy outings and events and family gatherings or trips or things, it's not necessarily something you can see. So I just thought it would be kind of nice to share that with people. So thank you for that support, Texas born and raised. Thank you so much for the thank you. And let me see, I think I might have had a picture. Oh, somewhere I put a picture. Let me find it. Again, this, well, okay, I have to pull up the picture first, I guess. I did find a graphic. Okay, yeah. Types of Crohn's disease. So let me put this over here and make it a little bigger. All right, and now let's see if I can share that screen, because I didn't know until I was doing research for today's show that, there we go, that there are different types of Crohn's disease. And so this graphic shows you where the impact is. So based on the kind of Crohn's disease a person has, it affects different parts of the intestines. And here, let's put up another, I'm learning a lot by doing these videos. All right, so I think I showed, yeah, that first thing. Here's the next one. Crohn's disease is a chronic disease that causes inflammation and irritation and irritation in the digestive tract. Most commonly, Crohn's affects the small intestine and the beginning of the large intestine. But again, I learned that Crohn's can affect anything from the mouth, I think, or the esophagus at least, all the way to the anus. So anything related to the digestive tract can be impacted by Crohn's. And I learned, maybe it was that video we just watched. I watched several little videos trying to find one that wasn't too long. The joints, there can also be inflammation in the joints and other parts of the body, kind of as an offshoot of that. I don't know that they're necessarily specifically related to Crohn's, but the high amount of inflammation, I think, can just impact other parts of the body. So now back to this graphic. So I'm going to see if I can say some of these names. And I remember I'm going to put myself back on screen again. So when I was last in college and I was taking my anatomy and physiology class, one of the tests was on pronunciation of conditions and super long words. And the super long word that I remember being so proud to have figured out how to say was esophagogastroduodenoscopy. Super long word, and it's a test or it's a diagnostic procedure. And each part of that word, if you want to look that up, let's see. Let me see if I can find it, and I'll put that in the chat for you. Here we go. Esophagogastroduodenoscopy. So let me put this word in the chat. You can look it up. I mean, I had to know what the word meant also, and what that procedure was, but just to be able to say it was very intimidating at first. So there's the word. There's your $1 million word for the day. Probably the longest word you'll see today, esophagogastroduodenoscopy. Now, back to this graphic. So I'm going to try to pronounce these. This first one looks simple enough, ileocolitis. I'm guessing because it affects the ileum. Maybe, I'm guessing. And then we've got ileitis. And then we've got gastroduodenal Crohn's disease. Okay, so see the duodenum again. I think the duodenum is what connects the stomach to the small intestine. And then we've got, oh wow, jejunoileitis. Jejunoileitis. Oh, I'm going to see if I can find a place to pronounce that. Here we go. Let's see. We're going to pull this up here, but I'm going to pause it. I'm going to move it over here so that we can get ready to, oh, but that's not what I wanted. I want to go back to this, and then we'll see if I got that right. Jejunoileitis. Jejunoileitis. And then here's Crohn's granulomatous colitis, and then perianal Crohn's. So it was new to me that there are multiple types of Crohn's disease. It doesn't make me feel any better for anybody that suffers from it. But now let's see if we can get this other video up to tell us how to pronounce Crohn's disease. Oh, where did it go? There it is. All right. So let's share a screen again and see how close I was. Jejunoileitis. Where is that? Here we go. All right, here comes that. Let's see if we can hear it. Jejunoileitis. Jejunoileitis. Now you know. Okay, that's interesting. So I don't know what jejuno. I don't know what. Obviously, that's a gastrointestinal term, but I don't know what that. I can't think of what that is all of a sudden. And we are just on time. I've got Scott and Wendy in the green room ready to join us, so I'm going to bring them up. So, okay, don't be picking your nose or sticking out your tongue or anything.
I gotta take that squeaky toy away. Hold on.
Okay, so yeah, and while she's doing that, I'll just tell you. So squeaky toys, because she's got dogs. That's our connection. That's how we know each other. We are rescue partners through Good Shepherd Rescue of Texas together, and have known each other a long time because of that. Wendy was a proxy mom for me when Richard and I took our last vacation anywhere when we went to New York back in 2019. She and Scott stayed here at the house and took care of everybody. So she became the duck mom and the horse and mule mom. She already knew about dogs, so she was the dog mom, the cat mom. Did we have the rabbits still at the time? No, I don't think we still had any rabbit. Okay, so we still had rabbit. Yancey, we had Yancey the turtle. So Wendy did it all. She had come over multiple times to spend time with the dogs, and I remember you left a blanket or something, so that they could smell it, a blanket from your house, so they could smell it and be familiar with your scent, and it went great. And Schultze, hey, let's see. Sweet. Thanks, Schultze. It's good to see you here today. So I just showed a little video that just talks about what Crohn's disease is. Okay. And I've shared a couple of just little tidbit facts on what it is and what it affects. Mm-hmm. But I was hoping you might tell us a little bit about your story. So how long have you had Crohn's, or when were you diagnosed with Crohn's, and how did you learn that that's what it was?
Okay. I knew originally I had really horrible stomach problems. Didn't really know what it was. They thought originally it was just IBS, anxiety. You always hear, oh, it's just anxiety. Whoops, she did something. Sorry, the dogs are like, they know that we're on here and they want to be on here with us.
And I don't want to say too much here because I don't want to jinx it. All the ones here are asleep. So there's 5 dogs here right now, and they're all asleep right now.
You jinxed it. But I had taken a trip to Hawaii, and I started feeling sick the day before I was coming back. Well, it was a vacation, so we had drinks and stuff. Oh, maybe I just had a bad hangover. But on the flight back, which was like 8 hours, I started throwing up blood every 15 minutes, like clockwork. So my dad picked me up. So we went to the restaurant. I was miserable. I couldn't eat. I felt sick. That night I talked to my doctor, and I was running a fever too. And he said, if your fever doesn't break, you need to. So 2.5 weeks later, at the hospital, is when I found out in 2007 that I had Crohn's disease.
What year again?
2007.
Okay.
And mine was hard to diagnose because some of the ulcers that I have are in my terminal ileum or my small intestines, and they get to where. Did you hear something?
It's just cutting in and out a little bit, so I don't know if it's how far you are from the camera or.
We're close.
Okay.
So I had, but what happened now is that it's mainly my upper side. So I get ulcers in my esophagus, in my stomach, bleeding ulcers, esophagitis, and multiple bleeding ulcers, not caused by H. pylori, which a lot of ulcers are caused by. Mine are not. And so I think that's why it was harder for them to diagnose, is because most people get sick to the stomach, they get diarrhea, everything they eat goes to them. Drinking water was so painful because it would have to cross, ulcers in my esophagus and my stomach. So awful. And of course, having that autoimmune opened up the door.
Okay, you cut out there a little bit.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Having that autoimmune diagnosis it opens up the door to getting more autoimmune.
Yeah.
diagnosis.
Yeah.
I
And
have.
I was sharing earlier that there's a batch of conditions and disorders and diseases that seem to be found together. Oops. You still there? Oops. We'll let her. There she is. Okay. That
Sorry.
seem to happen together for people.
You had cut out. I'm sorry. You
Oh,
said
I was just explaining earlier, there seems to be a batch of illnesses and conditions that are seen together for people when they have Crohn's. So
yeah.
what other, tell us what other conditions you have
So
and where they came in. Like, was it something you had before you had Crohn's? Has it been since your diagnosis?
it's all been since my diagnosis. So I have polyarthritis, which is in multiple joints. They've also diagnosed me with lupus, and fibromyalgia. And then I have a lot of issues in my back with degenerative disc disease, and I have a cyst in my spine. So am I missing anything? It's
I
funny.
hope not.
I
I
know.
hope not.
It's funny too, because I used to think people that had listed off these diagnoses that I was like, oh, they're just being, they're just exaggerating, or they're just acting like they're sick. And then it happened to me. And now it's like, I feel like I'm eating crow because, I thought there's no way that would be me one day. But
Yeah.
I did forget to mention that when I was 29, I ended up with SVT, which is called supraventricular tachycardia. And it would happen to where I was just sitting there. I would just be sitting there, and all of a sudden my heart would just feel like it slipped, and my heart would start beating really, really fast, like 250. So I did end up getting cardiac ablation at 29. I don't know if that has anything to do with any of it, but they said I was not born with it, that it was a sign of stress.
Oh, interesting.
From stress, yeah.
Interesting. So I have a little thing on the screen here that says Crohn's disease can develop in people of any age and is more likely to develop in people aged 20 to 30, in those who have a family member with IBD, and in those who smoke. How many of those then? So if you weren't diagnosed until 2007, I won't give it away how old you are, but you weren't between 20 and 30, right?
Right.
So has anyone in your family had Crohn's?
Nope.
Were you a smoker?
Not then, no.
Okay, so you're just did you buy a lottery ticket then at some point after you didn't fit any of this pattern here?
I always said that I must have been a real jerk in my past life.
Oh yeah, that they didn't put that on the list. Yeah, that's
right?
The next thing. Or people that were not real pleasant in their previous lives.
That's what I'm thinking. But and it's got a mind of its own. So you can't, I'm sorry, I keep trying to adjust this because we do have little dogs in here. You can't ever plan anything. Like it's hard to plan. So it's hard to say, yes, Friday I can be there at 6.
Yep.
Like outside of the house.
Yep.
I don't know how I'm going to wake up and feel that day.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever heard of the spoon theory.
Yes, only because as I've been researching some of these conditions, it's come up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of times.
So you run out of spoons pretty quick. Both of y'all probably run out of spoons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty quick. Yeah, and I'll talk about that in a future video too. I plan to do some talking about that. I have a long time friend. So I mean, we've known each other since our late teens. And she is a psychologist. She's a licensed psychologist and family therapist.
Oh, wow.
And so she's going to come on and talk about mental health and emotional health. And I thought I would maybe have her kind of go into spoon theory with us, because I'm sure she would be more familiar with it even than I am. Well, and I was explaining before you got here that that's one thing I've come to learn, is that these kind of conditions really rob people of their freedom. They just take over. You just don't, your life is not your own anymore.
Yeah, I'm okay right now, but in an hour I may be miserable and in my room, because like fibromyalgia, it makes my skin hurt. I don't want to be touched. It's hard to be touched. It almost feels like if you were to scratch your arm over and over and over in one place and it gets irritated like that, that's how fibromyalgia acts.
Oh. But it comes on without any stimulus.
Yep.
So, right, it's not because you're scratching it or you injured it.
Right. It just
Yeah.
wants to happen.
Now, when was that diagnosis, the fibromyalgia diagnosis, or about when?
It was probably about 2008.
Okay. That camera has a mind of its own, too.
I can just sit up close like this. You look so little compared to me, right?
Y'all can just switch spots when it's Scott's turn.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah. So the lupus. Talk to me about lupus then, and what does that do to the body, and when did that present, and when were you diagnosed with lupus?
So lupus happened in about 2010. I woke up one morning and I could not move. It felt so painful in every joint in my body, small, big, and it would feel like there was vice grips around the joint before it would start throbbing. So I knew it was coming. And then it just would throb like somebody hit it with a hammer. And then that throbbing feeling, that's how I found out I had lupus. So my dad had to carry me into the doctor's office because I couldn't walk. I mean, I had to have my daughters help me get dressed, brush my teeth for me, all of that stuff. It was horrible. But that one is pretty much toned down. I mean, I did go into septic shock, and they think it's probably from lupus. That was in February of 2019. They tried to say it was the flu, but all my
I remember.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember thinking somebody doesn't know what they're doing.
Right.
That's what I remember thinking. Somebody is really screwing up here. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it was bad because I almost didn't survive. I still don't know to this day how I survived. I mean, 106 fever.
Yeah.
And they had me on oxygen, and I was still at like upper 70s, lower 80s.
Yeah.
And then my pulse was at like 40 beats a minute, and my blood pressure tanked. And my daughter was there, and they said, "Who do you want to make decisions for you?" Telling me like things aren't looking good. And I said, "It's my daughter," because she was there at the time.
Yeah.
And it was happening so fast. So
well, and if I remember right, so was it Kendall?
Yes.
That was with you? Because I remember posts. I think Kendall was posting on your Facebook page for you to keep us posted on what was going on. And that's how I knew how bad it had to be. Because someone else was having to do updates on your page for you.
Yeah. And they toned it down a lot because they didn't want to freak people out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my parents at the time were on a cruise over by Brazil. They were like over in Brazil, and they got on a cruise. And from the cruise ship, they were calling like every 15 minutes because they were so worried I wasn't going to make it.
Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah. I remember that.
That was scary.
So talk to me about now the polyarthritis, because I forgot about that. And when did that present, or how did that present? When was that diagnosis made? So
that pretty much comes along with Crohn's usually, and it's in multiple joints. So polyarthritis means it's more than 4 joints.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I can wake up one day and it's in my hip, my left hip and my right shoulder. And then tomorrow I'll wake up and it's my right knee and it's my left elbow. And it just like rotates through my body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now back to just the Crohn's, the specific Crohn's part of this. Have you had any surgeries for that? Or will you be having any surgeries for that?
So far, I've been lucky, and I have not had to have any.
Okay.
So far.
Okay.
The first time I went septic, I almost did have a surgery because I had something called a double halo, I think is what it said, which is an indicator. They thought maybe I had a fistula in my intestine. But thankfully I didn't have to have any kind of surgery. Okay. But I don't care if I get like cow intestines. Just replace the ones I have. Because these start working for me.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because you do lose weight. Like I lost 90 pounds in about 90 days.
Yeah.
People thought she has cancer. Something wrong because I couldn't eat. And
Yeah.
then they put you on steroids and you just
Swell up. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you gain a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So it's like it's constantly like this. And I always joke and I'm always like, people aren't gonna believe I have Crohn's because chubby people don't have it.
Now, so the kids, do any of the kids have any of these conditions?
Kendall,
And is there a hereditary component? I mean, obviously that first little thing I put up said that it's more likely in people if there's a family history of IBD. So have any of the kids had these problems?
So Kendall has several like stomach issues, but she hasn't been formally diagnosed. But
Okay.
hers are really bad. She
So
reminded me when I first started.
Oh, yeah. So you can probably diagnose it before the doctors will.
Yeah. And like what I did find out though is that my dad does have an autoimmune, and my mom found out later in life that she has an autoimmune. It has nothing to do with Crohn's, but it is autoimmune, which is
right. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. So my kids have been diagnosed with POTS.
Okay.
And Cade also has Raynaud's. So he's got a whole other, but it all falls under the same umbrella.
Right. So right now, how do you manage all these? Like, is there a dietary component to managing all these conditions? Is there a medication regimen?
It took a long time to figure out what I could and couldn't eat. Like I cannot have raw veggies or raw fruits.
Oh.
Baked, I can have them, or if I juice them, I can have them. There's certain restaurants, I think it's the oil that they use. I have to get it from. I have to have pretty much a plain Jane. And lately, all I've been eating is yogurt. Like that.
Oh.
Yogurt. Like I eat it like twice a day.
Oh.
Twice a day or more. But I never really eat a whole lot. Like meal-wise, he makes me eat. He'll make me eat because I would just not eat.
Yeah. Only because it's going to trigger, because you're concerned about the things it'll trigger?
Yeah, and when food becomes your enemy, that's like the last.
Oh, how sad. Yeah.
And I live on Zofran, which are the tablets that go under your tongue for nausea.
Yeah.
Being nauseous. So I have those all the time.
Yeah.
But I should have told you this before. I'm getting ketamine IV treatments.
Yeah. Well, we chatted on Facebook about it once upon a time.
Yep. Those are for, some of it's from the PTSD from going into septic shock, but also for the illnesses. Like my myalgia has gotten a lot better since.
Okay. I was going to ask if you've noticed a difference. Okay.
Yes.
And is that considered still a new kind of a therapy, or has that therapy been around a long time for these conditions?
From what I understand is it started back in the war, and they didn't have like morphine to give the soldiers, and they couldn't watch their blood pressure and their breathing, but they could. And what they found out is that the men who had ketamine had no PTSD or very low limits of PTSD.
Interesting.
That had morphine from the war.
Okay.
Started experimenting, and now it's legal to go in there and get an IV infusion, a 1 hour or a 2 hour.
Okay.
And I don't know what it does. I know it starts to in your brain.
Okay.
Your memories, and you kind of see things from you, but it's like you with no ego.
Okay.
Like you're watching yourself.
Okay.
on these journeys. And
Okay.
but I can't really explain what it is about them that fibromyalgia. She thinks that that's linked to probably some past trauma,
Okay.
and that once that gets cleared up, that then your fibromyalgia gets better.
Okay. And so when you have the ketamine treatments, does that put you out of commission for a day or more, or once that?
They wear off pretty quickly, but
Okay.
I'm tired, so I'll usually take a nap. Sometimes I don't, but I'm just sleepy.
Okay.
And they tell you too, they're like, don't go move furniture, go shopping,
Okay.
and like chill for the day.
Okay. And when was the last time y'all took a trip anywhere?
Your ranch.
Well, that's already been too long ago. Wow. Yeah, that's already been a good long bit ago.
Yeah, we haven't been anywhere.
And is that mostly related just to the health battles you guys both have to fight?
Lately it's been all him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just is unable to travel sometimes.
Yeah. So are you involved in any like Crohn's groups? Are there like Crohn's support groups or education groups or?
There are on Facebook. There's a lot. And I was really heavily involved at first. I think whenever you have what you think is fine health and then you find out that your health is poor, it's a grieving process. And through angry time.
Okay.
Right? So angry at the world, like why me? Why me? You know, why does it have to be me that has it? And you know, I haven't been this horrible person. And then it. And what I found is I was a single mom when I got diagnosed, right?
Right.
And all I wanted really was to be able to raise them myself. And I'm working 50 hours a week. So I came to appreciate kind of strength because it allowed me to be all the time for my kids and to raise them. So I was trying to find the positive in all of it. So I just focused on that.
Okay. Okay. So you have any words of encouragement or advice for people that have Crohn's or think they might have Crohn's? Or
you have to be your own advocate for sure. Be your own best advocate. And you know, if one doctor is telling you it's in your head, it's anxiety, I've heard all of that stuff. Keep going and just keep you find the right, because told for so long, oh, it's just anxiety.
Yeah.
It's just stress. You have 4 kids. Why wouldn't you be stressed?
Yeah. Again, in researching for today's show, and I probably should have saved it. I don't remember who made the video. I think it might be that Dr. Mike guy. There's a Dr. Mike on YouTube that I like a lot. And it wasn't a Crohn's video, I don't think, but I just came across one of his videos and he made it. I think it was him, whoever it was. They made a comment about just women's health in general, that for, you know, so long, doctors have not really taken women's health that seriously. They just do chalk a lot of it up to, you're just stressed. You're a busy mom, or you're a working mom, and it's just stress, and they don't understand. Oh, so whatever this video was, though, it actually had to do with heart attack and heart disease, because women's like presentation of heart attack symptoms is different from men's. You know, we all grow up thinking, you know, that tightness in the chest and the numbness or the pain in the left arm, and that's not always it. I do think it was Dr. Mike. And so for women, it's more of you start having a lot of problem with acid reflux or GERD, and backache, or it was something else. It's something else for women. And he said it's just been a real injustice, because all of the studies that were done on heart attack and heart disease they've been done on men, and they've been done on men that, you know, they're not healthy in general. They smoke, they're overweight, they don't eat right, they're not very active. And so they've got this list of things to check off. but women don't present the same way because women's bodies are different. Women's activity levels can be different. The way they eat can be different. And I'm just seeing that a lot in a lot of these conditions that it seems to be that, I don't know, it just seems like maybe women are not taken as seriously sometimes.
I agree with that because I can't even tell you how many times I was told it's in your head. You need to go see a psychologist. It's this, it's that. I mean, it took me vomiting blood,
Yeah.
having a fever to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I found a great doctor at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's extremely frustrating. Even today, something.
Yeah. Well, that's again part of my objective behind doing this series is to raise awareness, shed a light on it. Someone somewhere again may see a video like this and think, "Oh my gosh, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not just stressed out. Maybe I'm not just, maybe it's not all in my head."
Yeah.
And they'll then be more confident in searching until they find someone that will take it seriously.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And like with mine, and he's a lot the same. Our doctors have told us that your body is so complex, you don't present like textbook symptoms. Like for me, for Crohn's, for it being all mainly half. Yeah. And I do have GERD on all that too.
Yeah.
That's part of it. So yeah, it's hard. Things are hard to diagnose. My doctor told me because my body's so complex that it makes it hard for her to figure out what it is.
Wow. Yeah. I'm kind of glad sometimes I didn't go on into medicine because I just think there would just always be so much more that I didn't know than that I could possibly know because people are so different.
And you did ask me earlier about medicine. I've kind of turned away from Western medicine, but I was on Remicade.
Uh-oh. Can you say those again? Because you cut out.
I'm sorry. Yes, I was on Humira.
Okay.
Methotrexate.
Okay.
Which is low dose chemotherapy.
Okay.
And then I was on Remicade infusions.
Okay.
So I've had a lot of those are the
okay.
Like zero. They make all your cells stop fighting each other, and then just in general. So you have to be really careful when you're on those medicines too. Biologics. That's what I was trying to think of.
Okay.
And because you can get sick so easily.
Yep.
So I'm not taking any of that now.
Okay.
I just take I have stuff for nausea, stuff like that.
Okay.
But
so not a daily thing, so you just take it as you need it.
Yeah. Well, I don't take any biologics at all anymore.
Okay. So
because you can end up with cancer and
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The side effects will sometimes be worse than the conditions themselves. So, but that's interesting. You talk about how you steered away from Western medicine now. Have you explored, I don't know, acupuncture, Reiki, some of those Eastern therapies?
Yeah, and I follow a lot of holistic doctors. I like the medical medium a lot, and that's another one. And I take a lot of supplements or more natural, they used to take opiates.
Yeah.
And all that, and now instead of taking opiates, I take something called kratom.
Okay.
I think people pronounce it differently, but to me, it's kratom. It's a plant.
Okay.
It works on the same receptors that opium. I can't say the word. Too, but you don't get a high from it. You can't get addicted to it. It doesn't last quite long, but it's addiction runs in my family.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Scott, are you ready to talk to us?
I guess.
You want to sit over?
So, now I want to say, unless I missed something, you have been most recently the one in the family that's had a major health thing or been in the hospital, or right? And
Yeah.
if I'm right, also, there have certainly been a good number of times in the last 4 or 5 years that we didn't know if you were going to make it.
That's right.
Yeah. And so, how much of those experiences were directly related to diabetes?
All of them.
Okay. So, talk to me about when you were diagnosed as diabetic, and like what were the symptoms? What happened that made them test you and consider that that could be what was happening?
I was diagnosed in around 2000, and in 1999 I had a work-related back injury, and they think the stress from that brought.
Wow. So, any history of diabetes in your family?
Yeah, my father has it, and my brother.
Okay.
Your brother passed, though.
Yeah, my brother passed.
From keto.
Okay. What's that?
He died from ketoacidosis.
Oh, okay. And how old was he?
56.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, what type of diabetes do you have?
I have a type 2.
So, do you take insulin?
I do now. I'm on 2 different type of insulin. I'm on a fast-acting insulin during the day at meal times, and then a slow-acting insulin at night.
Okay. And do those keep it managed as long as you stay on those things? Then everything's pretty much okay. Okay, maybe not.
I would eat better. I mean, I try.
Okay. Is it the stuff you eat or how much of stuff you eat?
Oh, I eat a lot.
Okay.
I like to eat.
Okay.
Skinny.
Yeah, figure that. Yeah. So I have a little tidbit here. An estimated 37.3 million people in the U.S. have diabetes. That's 11.3% of the population. But another 8.5 million haven't been diagnosed and don't know they have it. This is based on CDC statistics from 2022. And it just makes me sad. Now, it goes on to talk about pre-diabetes and gestational diabetes. So there's another big batch, like another 30 million people, I think, that make up the total of people that are pre-diabetic or go through the gestational diabetes during pregnancy. But I thought that was interesting. And then I have another little tidbit here. The total estimated cost of diagnosed diabetes. So again, there's all those people. There's those 8-point-something million people that don't even know they have it yet. But the total estimated cost of diagnosed diabetes in 2017, that's the most recent data I could find, was $327 billion, billion with a B, including $237 billion with a B dollars in direct medical costs and $90 billion in lost productivity. So the lost productivity factor in all of this, again, what I'm learning and what I'm seeing so clearly now is that diabetes and Crohn's, and I had a friend on the last show that talked about hidradenitis suppurativa, can't even work, can't even be at work. You can't sit at a desk, or you can't put in 8 hours. You can't get out of bed. You can't even move. Something hurts, or you're sick, or, you're dizzy or whatever. And so talk to me about how diabetes, because again, I know you've been in and out of the hospital. I know there have been times where I'm like holding my breath and watching posts and waiting for Wendy to message me again on Facebook to let me know you're okay, you're out of the woods, or you're on the other side of something. But how has that impacted just your ability to get up and go to work every day?
Well, there's just a lot of pain associated with it, plus with my back injury from the related injury, and it's just hard to get out of bed. It led to depression, a lot of depression, and that leads to be in the dark room by yourself all the time. And
Yeah.
requires a lot of sleep because it's like
Yeah.
everybody, and just try to find a little hiding spot for yourself.
Yeah. And that's not living. That's just not living. Mm-hmm. So how often do you have to test your blood sugar?
Oh, I have a
you wear that thing?
I have a Libre.
You see it?
Okay.
And I can test it whenever I want to or need to, and I just test it all throughout the day. Usually 8
Okay.
a day.
But that will like sound an alarm or something, right?
If
Okay.
it goes too low, we have it set at 70, and if it gets below 70, it'll the alarm will go off, and if it's above 250, the alarm will go off.
And so what do you have to do? So let's say it was below 70 and the alarm went off.
I have to but I usually just try to get some apple juice and drink about a half a cup of apple juice quickly, and that'll bring it up slowly and like where it needs to be.
Okay. And then if it's, what's that?
He gets really funky when it gets low. Like he can't get words out.
Oh, wow.
So I have to help.
Okay. So what happens on the high end? If it's over 250 and that alarm sounds, what do you have to do?
Well, depends on when I took my insulin last, and if I can go and take some insulin, my insulin.
Okay. And I'm curious about whether you've seen anything in any of the dogs that makes it look like they can, predict episodes or.
That's a very interesting question.
I think Zeke is really in tune with me, and he always comes over and smells me.
He's checking you out. Yep.
Yep. He puts his nose.
And so Zeke's been around the whole time that you guys have been together, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. So that's interesting. Does Zeke do something similar for you, Wendy? Does he sense if you're having a flare up, or I don't know how to put it?
Well, Reagan, actually.
Your heart dog. Yeah.
Yeah. She just she'll force her nose under my arm and get me to pet her. Like if I'm having anxiety because I get attacks.
Okay.
Or if I'm just having a rough day, she won't leave my side.
Okay.
But she'll force me to pet her. Like pet me. Stop thinking of stuff.
Okay.
So she's
interesting.
Yeah.
So even now with her health struggles, is she still doing that for you?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. That's one of the questions I couldn't wait to ask y'all, because you just have such a varied pack that I thought odds had to be good that at least one dog in the pack had to have shown some connection.
Yeah.
Where they're aware of things. And that's a whole nother show I'd love to do.
Oh yeah.
Is just their ability to literally sniff out health issues and alert, when there's a health issue. So you talked about your diet and eating better. What are the top things, Scott, that you feel like if you don't stay away from them, there's going to be trouble? Obviously, I think sugar. Obviously, if you eat a lot of sugar, that's like on the don't do it list for diabetics. But are there other things?
Biggest sweet tooth ever.
Oh no! But do you can you have honey? No honey. Is there a sweetener you can use that you like that is safe?
Yeah, what is it? Stevia?
Stevia.
It's stevia. I use that sugar.
Okay.
Or Kendall will make him sugar-free cookies.
Yeah.
Okay. Does she use stevia in her mixes when she does that?
I'm not sure, honestly, if that's how she does. Ask her, but they're sugar-free. She has her own little bakery.
Yeah, nice. Oh, nice. She has sugar-free options. Nice.
Yeah.
Has she been advertising that?
She's got her own page on Facebook called.
But I don't remember if I've seen her advertise that she has sugar-free versions.
Oh, I don't.
Oh my gosh, there's a whole world of customers waiting right there.
Yeah.
Because even people that aren't diabetic, a lot of people try to stay away from processed sugars and granulated sugar and stuff. So, I'm waiting for that post then.
Yeah.
She's got the sugar-free versions of everything.
Yeah, and she's trying to do more gourmet cookies.
Sugar-free
gourmet cookies. So it's so easy for him to just. She brings them home, and it's like I gotta hide them.
Now, and so can you tell the difference? Are you one of those kind of people that you can tell if it's not real sugar when you taste something?
I'm not. No.
Okay, good. No, that's a blessing then.
It is.
Because I think some people get real hung up about that. If they can detect the difference, then they convince themselves that it's not as good or it doesn't satisfy them as much. And oops. They're gone, but I'm sure they'll be back. And while they're coming back, I'll share with my viewers here another tidbit of information from the CDC page. Diabetes risk based on ethnic or racial group is as follows. American Indian or Alaska Native, 14.5%, the highest percentage, which is so, I don't know why that is so intriguing to me. I don't know why that's so intriguing to me. And then Black, non-Hispanic people have a 12.1% risk for, I was just going over some of the risk percentages based on ethnic and racial groups. So American Indian or Alaska Natives have a 14.5% risk for diabetes. Black, non-Hispanic people have a 12.1% risk. Hispanic people have an 11.8% risk. Asian non-Hispanic people have a 9.5% risk, and white non-Hispanic people have a 7.4% risk. So do you have any Hispanic in you, Scott?
No.
You're just a white guy.
I'm just so.
I hope that's not offensive to anyone, because I'm only saying it because, again, did you buy a lottery ticket? So
No.
you're in the lowest percentage risk group based on your ethnic racial background, and yet, bingo, congratulations.
I know.
You've got this. Yeah.
He got it. I don't know if you've read, but I've heard that a lot of times the type 2 diabetes will come on like after something's very stressful in the body. And so after his back surgery, he got shingles in the wound, in the incision. And then he forgot to say that. And then he got type 2.
Yeah, you kind of have to wonder if they're not connected then, don't you?
Yeah. He thought that they had a knife in him still, or it was so painful. I've never had shingles. I hear it's really painful.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then that nerve stimulator, that whole issue.
Yeah. Well, that's been a couple of times that's presented itself, right?
Yeah, but the first one is the one that he almost died because they didn't figure out that it was leaking that battery acid in his body here. And that made him go catatonic completely.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Again, I'm thinking back. I'm just thinking back again to Facebook posts and chats you and I were having, and I just, you just sit on the other side, like, man, you just feel so helpless, just so helpless. There's nothing, and I don't know anything. I mean, the doctors didn't even know anything, so I'm sure not going to know anything, and that's worse to not know. I just think it's just so much more frightening when you don't even know what the heck is happening.
Well, and I made that. I said, you guys need to test him for anything in his blood, like heavy metals. Something is doing this to him that we are not aware of. Yeah. And that's when we found out that the nerve stimulator that they had in his back was not compatible with that MRI machine, but it got through 5 medical professionals, 2 of them doctors.
And nobody thought of that.
No, I thought of that. It was me. And I told them, I'm like, get that out of him now.
Yeah.
That's when they said it had microscopic leaks of battery acid. And then we did it back. And of course they conveniently lost it.
Yeah. Well, again, this just goes back to you saying you have to be your own advocate.
Oh yeah.
You have to question. You have to do your own research. You can't be afraid to disagree. No,
when he was completely catatonic, I was his advocate.
Sure was.
I made the phone calls. I'm like, you need to do this, and like I would not give up.
Yep.
Because his original back doctor is in Tyler, Texas. And they made us drive all the way out there for Tylenol 3, which he thought, we thought that he was going to give him hydrocodone or something for pain. And we get there, and he didn't even test his urine. And of course, his blood sugar was already high from being in pain.
Yeah.
And he proceeds to give him 8 shots of steroids. So we get home, and his blood sugar is over 500. I was so scared. And actually, I think that's the time we called the ambulance. Yeah, they thought he was having a stroke.
But his blood sugar was...
grabbed him by the legs and just whipped him off the bed and put him on the hospital bed, and they were like, out.
Oh my gosh. And that was how long ago? Oops.
People would stop trying to call.
That was how long ago when the ambulance, when they had to get him in an ambulance?
Yeah, 2 years. But
Okay.
I think we ended up, well, I ended up calling at least 5 or 6 times.
There's been 5 ambulance trips.
Yeah.
Okay. So, work-wise now, what kind of work? What work are you doing?
I'm not able to work because of my back.
Okay.
But
So, okay, good. I was going to ask, because that's been another thorn in a lot of people's sides, is having to fight for benefits or fight for insurance coverage, and I'm going to guess that you guys have had to deal with both of those things as well.
He got lucky because his doctor that did the back surgery sent the information to the state.
Okay.
And
Okay.
he got on.
No, it was 2 different. I had to apply 2 different times.
Oh, but I thought it was your doctor that helped.
Yeah, my doctor did help.
Okay.
And for me, I had an attorney the second time. I've been denied. I was told that part of the reason I was denied was because I'm drinking too much sugar, which was the juicing of fruits and vegetables.
Oh, please.
I know. And then she said, well, December 1st, you told your doctor you were feeling fine. And then December 3rd, you were in the hospital because of this. And I'm like, do you not know how these things
Yeah, that's
work?
how this works. Yeah, right?
And then the second time, she told me that I was too young. I was 47, that I was too young to not work, and that I could find something where I didn't have to deal with the public in a back room. I know. So I've tried twice, and I guess you have to work out of the last 10 years. You have to work at least 5 of those years to get benefits. So
well, again, my friend Sherry that was on the show to talk about hidradenitis suppurativa, I think she said, my audience might have to remind me, I think she was 38 when she had to quit work because of that condition, but she got disability. And I don't remember her saying that it was a battle, or I can tell you just from all my years in healthcare that the insurance company's first step is always to deny.
Oh yeah.
Or the benefits, state benefits or government benefits. That's always the first step. They roll the dice, deny it. They can always pretend later, oh, that was an accident, that was an error, that shouldn't have happened, I'm going to send it back through. But what they count on is the huge percentage of people that get that denial and then never fight it.
Right.
They count on that. They count on that. It's everything: car insurance, health insurance, every kind of insurance, every kind of benefits that somebody's paying into so that people can get something out of it. They count on there being a significant percentage of people that they don't know better, or they're just not willing to fight, whatever. They count on it. And that's how they make a profit.
Yeah.
A
lot of people can't be their own advocate because they're too sick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I had all my records of going into septic, going septic, and then going into septic shock. I had all of that stuff, and all of my records, and they didn't care.
Yeah, well, that's their first. That's going to always be their first. I'm telling you, just write it down somewhere. It doesn't matter what kind of claim it is. Doesn't matter what kind of benefits request it is. They're going to deny it because, again, they can always pretend later, oh, I'm so sorry, that was just a mistake. That was a computer glitch. That was one thing I dealt with so much was submitting claims for surgeries or whatever, and getting a denial with a note saying, this requires x-rays, or this requires charting, or this requires the doctor's notes, or which were submitted with the claim. So then I call them up and I say, it was submitted with the claim. Here's the ID number for that transmission. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I see it. I'm so sorry. It just got over, again, but every minute that your premiums or whatever taxes, whatever's going into the pot to create the, collection of funds that's distributed when claims are paid and benefits are dispersed, every minute that stuff can sit in whatever that interest-bearing account is, earns millions and millions and millions of dollars more for whatever entity is collecting them. If it's a health insurance company, again, you pay your premiums. That premium goes into this interest-bearing account. When you're a big company, you fight even more. In my experience, the MetLifes and the Deltas and the, just
It's so frustrating.
I don't know. That's a whole nother show again. And that's their goal. I feel like they have team meetings in the mornings probably where they say, all right, our goal today is to deny 1,000 claims.
Yeah.
Deny 1,000. Doesn't matter the dollar amount. If it's a $50 claim, deny it, because the $50 that we're not going to pay out of our big pot is going to earn us, 2% in whatever. I don't know that part of it, but it's going to be. And when you've got millions of people paying premiums to you, that's lots of money that's sitting in that big account, that even if it's just drawing a little tiny interest rate, earning a little interest rate, it's huge amounts of money. That's how insurance works.
And what's so frustrating about disability is you're fighting for, it's not even that much money.
Yeah. Right?
It's not even that much money.
Yeah. You can't live off of it. You still can't live off of it. Yeah.
No. And thankfully, like for us, the house is paid off because I bought it when I was 19. So it's paid off. Our cars are paid off.
Yeah.
So we just have day-to-day stuff. So that does make it easier. And then we also do boarding, as you know.
Yep. Yep.
So that helps. That adds up pretty quick.
Yep.
So we just do the best that we can, and somehow we make it through. And it's interesting though that we should have never met. Number one, I say it's a God thing all the time, but we should have never met. But to have health issues and understand it, to have a partner who understands.
Oh yeah.
It's such an awesome thing, because if I want to lay down and take a nap, he doesn't sit there and say, "Oh, you're late."
You're just trying to get out of doing something. Yeah. Oh yeah.
He understands it's because I need it,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So.
All right. So I have a little diabetes video. So we'll watch this little diabetes video, and then I'll bring you guys back up. We'll kind of wrap things up. I'll let you give us your final thoughts or your pep talk, Scott. So you have some time to prepare that. This video is like a minute and 15 seconds long, but it's just a little quick what is diabetes video. So let's watch that together.
All right.
What is diabetes? Diabetes occurs when the body does not respond properly to high sugar levels in the blood. Normally, after eating a high sugary food or drink, the pancreas releases a surge of insulin into the bloodstream. Insulin travels to the cells in the body to tell them to absorb sugar and reduce it from the bloodstream. In diabetes, either the pancreas does not make insulin, known as type 1 diabetes, or there is not enough insulin being produced in response to the high level of sugar consumed, and cells in the body may have become unresponsive to the insulin that is produced, known as type 2 diabetes. Over time, high blood sugar can lead to problems with your heart, eyes, kidneys, gums, and teeth. Many people can manage their diabetes through healthy eating, physical activity, and blood glucose testing. However, some people also need to take diabetes medicines.
Right, just a little video for those that, for various reasons, might not really understand what diabetes is or kind of what the culprit is.
Yeah.
I've been surprised again. I feel like I'm relatively knowledgeable about health and disease, but I've learned so much. I learned a lot. Like I learned a lot of sad things, because I'm sad to know how many people deal with the things you guys are dealing with. And maybe there's some good in there. Maybe for you to know, you're not alone.
Yeah.
It's, there are lots of other people that are struggling with this same thing. I feel really bad about that figure of the 8.5 million or whatever it was, people that don't know they have diabetes.
Yeah.
Because we all know that just means some terrible thing is going to happen at some point. And that's when they'll learn it. That, they'll be doing some testing or whatever they'll be doing to figure out why this terrible thing happened.
And
then they'll know.
It runs heavily in my family too.
Oh, wow. Well, so there's good. You don't have diabetes. That's good.
Yeah, that's good. That's a plus.
Okay. That's good. So now, just aside from all the health stuff, just tell me how things are going with the dogs and the kids and the grandbaby and.
We have 3 brand new grandbabies, 3 baby boys under 2 years.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And everybody's happy and healthy and.
Yep, not 19 months, 12 months, and 2 months.
Okay.
All
so
boys.
only boys, all boys so far.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to wait for some more of the kids to have some more kids to maybe get a girl.
Yeah. We throw a girl in there for sure.
Uh-huh. And then tell me about Reagan. What's the latest with Reagan?
So, she's got degenerative myelopathy. That feels like a tongue twister.
Uh-huh.
Which is, comparable to Lou Gehrig's disease in humans.
Right.
And so her hind end is very weak. Basically, their spinal cord starts to turn into fluid and liquefies, and it works up their body. We've noticed, like, ever since Zeke has gone downhill.
Uh-oh. So
okay?
ever since Zeke has gone downhill,
Reagan's gone downhill even harder.
Okay.
They're bonded. They're really, really bonded.
Oh, yeah. Well, so she's how old now? She's
8.
not very. Okay, so that's still not very old.
No, she was diagnosed at 7.
Yeah, that's not very old.
No.
For DM. Yeah.
It's very.
And aside from the DM, what's her spirit like?
She's happy. She wants to play.
Okay.
She's in good spirits, whereas like Zeke gets frustrated with her.
I'm looking on your page to see if I can find a picture of her.
Oh, I'm sure there's a picture. Let me put that up. I hope it's not going blank every time. Oh my goodness.
No, it's cut out a couple of times, but okay, here's a picture that I like of her. So let me pull that up. I'm going to show y'all this picture of Reagan. So if you haven't figured out yet, if you're watching, Reagan is a German Shepherd dog, and Wendy started out fostering her. She'd had a litter of puppies, right?
Yep, 7.
And did you have the puppies also initially? So, and the puppies all got adopted.
Yep.
But Reagan had some anxiety issues, right?
Yeah, she was nipping people.
Okay.
But if I was there, she would not nip. But the minute I was there, she would start nipping. There she is.
So there's Reagan. Beautiful, beautiful girl.
Long hair.
And this picture looks like this is from June of 2019.
She hasn't changed much.
Okay. Anyway, so that's Reagan. And then let's find Zeke. So how old is Zeke now?
He's 11, just now turning 11.
Okay. Let's find his picture.
Oh.
Oh.
He got bit by a snake. There he is.
There's Zeke. Sweet babies.
Yeah, very
sweet babies. And it sounds like they have helped take care of you guys as much as you've helped take care of them.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing because they definitely help comfort and watch over you, and like when she forces me to pet her, it makes me sorry for myself.
Yeah. I just think that's why they're put here. I honestly think that's why dogs are put here, to remind us,
Yes, I totally agree. There's something.
So give us some words of wisdom, Scott, on health and happiness and.
Just be sure to go to your doctor and have all the tests ran and stay to a strict diet.
Yep.
You don't like that doctor, move on.
Right. Find the doctor that you like best.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing. I think sometimes people feel like it would be some sort of a betrayal to get a second opinion or just to find another doctor. And I like to say, it's hard enough to find a hairdresser.
Oh my God.
It's hard enough to find you know, somebody to do your nails or do your hair when you're a lady, I'm sure, or a barber. Hard enough to find a barber that he does a good job, you get along nicely, it's a good vibe. So I wonder why sometimes people get so hung up on feeling like they're not supposed to shop around for a doctor. Or
I think that doctor makes them feel bad, but you know it's funny because their ego.
Oh yeah.
GI doctor in the beginning told me, please go get a second opinion. I cannot figure this out.
Okay.
Oh, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Only time I've been told that.
Yeah. So y'all heard it from Scott though, because I know you guys, you men out there, are generally the ones that are more reluctant to go to the doctor or take your medicine if something's been prescribed. So you're hearing it now from somebody that's lived through too much to have not figured out now how important that really is. So I thank you for sharing that. You guys are just awesome for being on the show today. I'm so honored that you were willing to be a part of this series for me. And again, I learned a lot. And I'm feeling very grateful, and I'm feeling really thankful. I have a little bit of arthritis that bothers me every now and then, but interestingly enough, if I stay away from sugar, I don't have arthritis problems. I don't know what that connection is, but if I eat sugar, you know, maybe we had a get together and there was birthday cake or something, and then I eat little pieces of birthday cake for a few days in a row, golly, my thumbs will hurt, my hips will hurt.
Yeah, there's definitely a connection, because with my kids that have POTS, if they eat junk food, they feel like crap. Like if they go to McDonald's or whatever.
Oh wow!
But if and eat clean, they don't have as many episodes.
Yeah, that tells us something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't that tell us something?
It is your medicine, you know?
Huh? Oh yeah. But you know, again, it's a lot cheaper and more convenient to eat junk.
Of course.
You know, hate to say it, but that really does at least seem how it is. So, but I thank you guys for being here. Thank you to those who stopped in to hang out with me and Wendy and Scott. Again, thanks to those who are going to watch as part of my rewatch crew. Next week, we will have another Good Shepherd Rescue Partner friend, Alex Menchaca, will be on the show to talk to us about aplastic anemia. So another hidden illness or invisible illness. And I haven't started my research on that yet, but he's going to be my guest next week. And then the following week, my friend Mary Jo, the therapist, will be on to talk to us about emotional, mental, spiritual health. And I think that's going to be a couple of great shows right there.
Ironically, Alex helped me after septic shock with what I was feeling and all of that stuff. And also his wife, Maureen, they were huge in helping me get past that.
Oh, how nice.
That's interesting.
How nice.
Him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll be sure next week when I see him to let him know that I had you on the show this week. Yeah. I just love that that's how all of us are connected anyway, because it's just a real family. I feel like it's a real family, and that's nice to know. That's really neat to know that he was a part of that journey with you.
Yep.
All right. So go love on the dogs and the cats and the grandbabies and the kids and each other. And I'm sure I'll see you again at some point. We don't get out much either. I know you guys don't get out much. So
nope.
I'm tickled and honored that you were on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
I love y'all.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was Scott and Wendy. Wendy Weiland. That was her name before she and Scott got married. So that was Scott and Wendy Tillie, rescue partner friends of mine through Good Shepherd Rescue, and I'm just over the moon that they were willing to come on and talk about. I mean, these are kind of serious, heavy topics that we're covering in this series, and I'm just really impressed at how gracefully and openly, they shared information and others have shared information with us. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. I hope you learned some things. If the door is still open, if you have a health issue that you'd like to come on and share with us about, so we can learn together and spread awareness together, let me put my email up. Oops. Just email me, because obviously I may not know what you're dealing with. And I understand if it's not something you want to come on and publicly talk about, obviously I'm not going to ask that. But together we really can make a difference for a lot of people. And you never know what lives you might touch just by coming on and sharing yourself and sharing your story. So I encourage you to do that. Or if you know someone that might be interested in being a part of this series, feel free to share my email address with them so I can get them scheduled to be on the show again. And we can kind of battle some of these from the sidelines by helping to educate and give people information. I don't think there's a whole lot else happening now. I have one September guest lined up already. I'm really excited about this one. So I do plan to have the Invisible Illness series wrapped up by mid-September. Again, I've got the next 2 weeks scheduled for that already. And then I'm hoping maybe that first Friday in September will be the last of the Invisible Illness series episodes. But there may not, I'm just still toying with the idea of whether or not we'll do a show that day, because it's the Friday before Labor Day. So I know a lot of people travel on the long weekends. And so I'll just kind of make some decisions as we get closer to that date on whether or not I think there are going to be people around watching live streams on that Friday. But this is always something I can go back and revisit. So even if I wrap up this initial batch of live streams to cover topics in the series, I can always have someone come back, 6 months from now even, and we can do an episode on that. But mid-September, I have some of the admin from Friends of Big Bear Valley. That is my second favorite eagle nest in the world. You guys know that Southwest Florida Eagle Cam, that was the nest of Harriet and M15. It's now just M15, and we don't know if he'll be back because Harriet disappeared. She's lost. And he, at the end of the season, did look to have a new mate. It looks like they were interested in each other enough that they're probably going to become a bonded pair. But it remains to be seen whether he will come back to this same nest, because typically it's the females that choose the nesting location. Now, she was hanging around with him at that nest. So I think odds are probably good that's where they're going to come back to start making preparations for next season's eaglets. But we'll have to see. If not, I'm sure other eagles will come in to that nest, and then we'll still have the live streams from those cameras. And because Hurricane Ian just destroyed so many eagle nests last year, I would imagine a lot of the females that were visiting the Southwest Florida nest to try and court M15 probably were looking for nests. They're looking for a new nest. So I'm thinking the odds are probably good that, whoever he ended up with at the end of the season, if they're going to continue to kind of spend some time together off and on during this off season, so to speak, then I'm thinking we'll see them back when it's time for the 2023-2024 nesting season to start. But that's in Southwest Florida. That's my favorite nest. And then Jackie and Shadow at the Big Bear Valley nest in San Bernardino, California, at Big Bear Lake. That's my second favorite nest. Lots of heartache at that nest. It's a harsh environment there, but Jackie and Shadow are the most entertaining birds. And I'm so excited that I'm going to have some representatives of the Friends of Big Bear Valley to talk to you about eagles and conservation efforts and the beautiful national forest there. And that's going to be on the 15th of September. So between now and the 15th, I'll be doing these invisible illness streams. I'm still looking for content creators that might be interested in being interviewed on the show so they can meet some new folks. And if you're among those, again, email me if you'd like to be on the show. I always have emails out, but I don't always get responses back. Now, some of the bigger channels, when I reach out, they may get 1,000 emails a day. My email, they may not have even seen it yet. So I understand that. But if you've got a favorite channel or a content creator that you follow that maybe I don't know about and that you haven't already seen me talk about here on the show, let me know and I'll reach out to them and we'll see if we can't kind of get them on board with hanging out with us here. Again, I think that's it. I hope you guys are staying cool wherever you are. It really is incredibly hot here. Cross your fingers that I'm going to get to see some meteors this weekend and the clouds aren't going to get in the way. The clouds that we haven't seen in 2 months, and now it's cloudy every night. And Yancey's loving her new tank. If you haven't checked out the videos of Yancey's new 120-gallon aquarium, check it out. It's awesome. She loves it. I do have a mail call video coming out tomorrow that's related to that. So you guys check that out as well. And as always, be safe, be happy, be well, be blessed. I love you and I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for rewatching. If you're part of the rewatch crew today, I'll leave the chat up for a minute in case any of you need to wrap up some conversations or say your goodbyes. And I will see you next Friday with my friend Alex Vanchaka to talk about aplastic anemia. I love you, friends. I'll see you next week. Take care. Stay cool.